Hello everyone, this is Ann Richardson, the person behind Connective Touch Wellness Consulting, here with our first ever video. I decided to add a video feature because I think some people like listening and watching. As you can tell, this is a very professional operation. It is impossible to find a quiet space in my life right now, so you might hear some ambient noises. Hopefully we can focus. I don't have a makeup artist, nothing like that. It's just gonna be me talking to you via video. We'll be exploring some different content as we go along. Today we're gonna basically do a video version of my most recent blog post because it's really important and it's something that I've kind of made the cornerstone of what I'm trying to do with wellness consulting. So I thought I would go ahead and do a video of it as well as post the blog. I do have notes in front of me. You might see me scanning or clicking down. Hopefully as we go along I'm gonna get a little more professional with this, but this is our first experiment. So why don't we start? The point of this is one of the biggest questions that I get when I talk about wellness consulting, which is why should I focus on wellness when the world is on fire? Shouldn't I feel bad about that? I have a lot of people who I see online and who talk to me, not personally, but like, you know, I kind of get the response of, why should I worry about me when everything is so awful? Shouldn't I just be grateful and not waste any time on worrying about me or making my life easier? I totally get it. I understand this response. I used to feel the same way. It's still something that I feel quite frequently. And I even kind of agree with those questions, but only partially. And I think that partially piece is where I am going to focus on and what I would like to talk about. Can you say bye? Say I'll stop bothering you. Okay. My thinking on whether or not you should focus on yourself during a time of crisis and when you're a person of privilege has changed, and I'd like to share with you why. Okay, first things first. One of my credos and one of the central tenets of Connective Touch Wellness Consulting is that it's possible for more than one thing to be true at the same time. You can have more than one feeling at the same time. You can have more than one priority at the same time. This is kind of revolutionary, actually. I feel like a lot of people, especially modern types like me, I'm going to call myself modern, even though I'm not sure that's entirely true, is we like definitives. We like answers. We like black and white. We like, this is this way, and there's no other way. And I've gotten to the right answer. I've gotten to the final question. That's not the world, though. And the older I get, the more I kind of realize that that's not really how things work. Of course, I will agree that there are some fundamental certainties, like you shouldn't kill people for profit. If you want to argue with me on that one, I would please kindly request that you stop watching my channel and maybe don't contact me for wellness consulting because I don't think we're going to get along. But other than some stuff like that, there's not many things that I think are 100% certain or 100% right. And I actually have come to be in a place where I find freedom in that. And I find the beauty in embracing the gray zone and in recognizing that there are more possibilities than truths. You'd be surprised at how much this changes your thinking when you start thinking like that. And I would encourage you to start being comfortable with the idea of two things being true and right at the same time. So now that we've covered that, first part of the question, why should you worry about yourself when everything is awful? You should worry about yourself because everything is awful. The world is really bleak. You don't need me to tell you why. I could, but then I'll probably start crying, and I don't want to do that on my first video. Things are really tough. It's hard out there, and it feels like things are really dark and heavy. And when things are as dark and heavy as they are right now, the best thing that you can do is be a light. You can shine. You can use your actions and your words and your person to shine and be a light in these dark times. There are a lot of ways to do that. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can be an ally, you can vote, you can get up every single day and do your best to make life a little bit better for your fellow humans. For some of us, being a light means staying at home right now and taking care of our kids. Or it means going to work every day in a hospital even though the risk to your health is significant. There are a lot of ways to be a light. Most of you who are listening to this are probably doing at least some of them. We need that. Thank you. Thank you for shining your light in this world. But I want to remind you that you can't be a light if your batteries die. Batteries don't recharge themselves. Not yet. Maybe some weird robot lab in the US government. But our human batteries do not recharge ourselves. And if you want to be making the world a little less awful, it's really important for you to keep yourself as well as possible. And that's not something that happens without intent and dedication. You can't just magically be well. You can't just magically have charged batteries all the time. If you can, let me know. I want to know your secret. Most of us can't. Fundamental tenet of Connective Touch Wellness Consulting, another one, is that it is not selfish to do what you need to do to keep yourself going. It's not. It's a gift. It's a gift to you, to the life you've been given, and it is a gift to those around you who love you and who need you. It's not selfish to recharge your batteries. So you should 100% focus on yourself, even when the world is awful. Also, this is a little bit more of a downer, but I don't know how much you've paid attention to history or your lifetime, but the world is kind of always awful. I mean, right now we are certainly in a time of uniquely massive and terrible levels of crisis, which again, we're not going to go into, but I mean, things are pretty crappy right now in general. But even when times are good, they're not really, like, nothing's perfect. The world is probably the furthest thing from perfect. So if you are telling yourself, I'm going to wait until the world is better or until life is calmer to focus on myself, you might be waiting until you don't have any time left. It might never happen. And I'm sorry if that's depressing. I find it oddly comforting because it gives you the freedom to not wait for something to change. It gives you the freedom to say, now is the time to focus on me. And again, it's incredibly important and should be a priority for you to keep yourself going. Second part of the question. Yeah, shouldn't you just be grateful? I want to quibble. You shouldn't just be grateful. You should be grateful and concerned for your well-being at the same time. Remember, two things can be true at once. Perspective is vital. Gratitude is incredibly life-changing. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but the 5 minutes of gratitude a day will change your life, will change your perspective. It's incredibly important, and you should never lose your perspective or your gratitude. It's really helpful, and I think vital to spend a little time every day, probably more than a little time every day, in those spaces of perspective and gratitude. Again, though, two things can be true at once. Just because you have the privilege of having this perspective and you have the privilege of being able to be grateful doesn't mean that the loads you're carrying aren't heavy. We all carry loads. You can have it amazingly good. You can have it better than 99.9% of the people on the planet. And you can still have heavy loads. It's just kind of the nature of being human, the nature of being within this human world. There's always going to be some sort of trouble on your mind and on your heart and on your spirit. They're all valid. These troubles matter. You matter. You deserve to have your burdens lightened. You deserve someone to take your hand, figuratively, right now. No touching people. But you deserve to have someone take your hand figuratively and help you make these troubles less intense. You deserve that. Everyone does. I can maybe think of like 2 or 3 people who I wouldn't offer to help. I won't name any names. But anyone who's watching this video or reading this blog, you as a human being, you matter. Your concerns matter. Your troubles matter. They're not lesser because of your status in life, because of your income, or because of your health, or anything like that. Of course, you should have perspective, but you matter. Your troubles matter. If you're listening to this and you're shaking your head and you're like, oh my God, this is so frou-frou. This is so stupid. Like, why are you making a deal about me mattering? I don't matter. Nothing matters about my life. I want to push you a little bit. Why do you think that? Why don't you think it's important to worry about yourself? Why don't you think someone else should care about your problems? Why don't you think you should be counted? Why don't you think your concerns should be counted? Who made you feel that way? Who has trained you or told you that you need to be smaller, that you need your concerns to not be voiced? Where have you learned that your sufferings are stupid and that no one needs to know about them? Where did you learn that you should accept less, that you aren't worthy of attention or help or validation? Because that's what you're telling me when you're telling me that you think this is kind of a stupid thing to do. You're telling me that you don't think you deserve someone on your side helping you. Why? Who told you that? You might have a specific person in mind. You might be able to say, oh, well, my Uncle Bob was really, really abusive. I give you my heart. If you're a woman, which I suspect many of you are, you might be fighting against an entire lifetime of social conditioning and cultural wars. Mic drop. I can send you studies and research if you're interested in learning more about this. I can give you the proof that what you already know in your heart is true, is that society, at least our society in current times, does not value women in the way that it should. We who identify as female are supposed to be the caregivers, not the caretakers. But why can't we be both? Why can't we recognize that even as we give so much love and so much strength and so much support, we deserve to receive it too? The idea of self-care gets a really bad rap nowadays. People think it's indulgent and it's stupid. They think of, you know, the charlatans who are peddling things that don't actually help you and aren't based on anything and just cost you money. I actually have a whole blog post coming about that because it's a really sensitive topic for me. It's something that I think about a lot. But we won't dive too deeply into that right now. I just want to say at its core, despite what we've kind of turned it into, self-care is a real concept. It's a real thing, and it's important to recognize what it needs to be for you. Because again, like I've said a few times now, you can't take care of your loved ones and you can't take care of the world unless you take care of yourself. It's just not going to happen. You can't shine with dead batteries. If you need to, print that on a mug and remind yourself every time you take a gulp of some coffee, which I don't know about you, but it's happening a lot more nowadays than it used to. So that's my soapbox for today. I am Connective Touch Wellness Consulting. I believe you need support. I believe that you deserve someone to worry about you, to focus on you, to spend time on you and your problems and your troubles, and to help you figure out how to recharge your batteries and to understand what self-care truly would mean to you. Not a jade egg that you stick up your unmentionables, but what self-care could truly be for you and achievable ways that you can make it happen so that you can keep those batteries fully loaded, you can keep shining within this incredibly dark world, and so that you can get some perspective on why you deserve to spend some time making yourself feel better, because you do. If you're not ready for the full consulting experience, I do something that I call holding space, where I can be the other voice, well, the voice on the other end of the line for you if you just need to let it all out. It's something I really believe in. This isn't about being selfish. I want you to take that word out of your vocabulary when you're thinking about your wellness. It's about recognizing your value. You can and you should pursue your wellness, even if your life is pretty awesome. And even though 2020 is what we call a garbage fire, you should still pursue your wellness, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it. It's important. It matters. I say it one more time. You matter. Reach out today if you think you would be interested in me helping you with this. If not, thanks for listening. Well, either way, thanks for listening. I think this will get more polished and a little more, maybe I'll do my makeup next time, but thank you for listening. I think I can help you if you're interested or if you need help. Let me know. This concludes our video. Take care, stay well as much as possible without my help, and be safe out there, friends. All right, bye.